My name is Elspeth Penfold. I'm in Scarborough at the old Parcels office, and I've been fortunate to be invited to join Changeable Beast, which is a London-based arts group looking at sculpture, at different ways of presenting sculpture and being challenging in the way they work together and process, and more importantly about having conversations with people about art, about storytelling, about places, and about how we interact with each other and the world around us.
I'm Rob Moore, and I'm an artist, a painter printmaker, and I'm a trustee at the old Parcels office in Scarborough, which is this wonderful building we're in, showing the work by London artists called Fruiting Bodies. The old Parcels office was originally an excursion station in Victorian times, and then the building fell into disrepair really. It's a Grade 2 listed building, and we managed to get a grant from English Heritage and Network Rail and Arts Council, and that make it into an industrial gallery.
Well, today we're going to do an indoor walk, a wandering in the gallery. This sort of work was introduced to me in a project at Tate Modern, where two wonderful artists, Claire Corman and Claire Hind, secured the use of Tate Modern in the evenings after it was closed. A lot of people think about walking art as walking tours, as walking across the countryside, which of course it can be, but it can also be different approaches of how we use walking to engage with spaces and places and art. Today we are using a pleached pear tree. I use a lot of indigenous thinking from the Andes, a Quechua language and culture. In the Quechua culture, your past is always in front of you. We're using a little booklet of poems called Sumac Causai. Sumac Causai gives the rights to the earth that we have as people. So we're going to be walking with a pleached pear tree that was grown in Pickering here in Yorkshire. And we're going to use a poem from Sumac Causai, which was written by Jonathan Skinner. And it's a series of loons, short haikus, 10, about a pear tree that was going to be chopped down. It was 100 years old. We'll be using those as prompts to trigger our walking. At the same time, we're knotting ropes. I use quipus. In Andean villages, as part of the storytelling, you tell stories through knots. You knot ropes, and the energy from that moment, that conversation, that memory is contained in the knot. To this day, in Andean villages, there are people called kipukamayoks, and they can read the knots in the same way as we can read words. And then we will return having encountered the artworks, had the conversations, knotted our ropes, and we will decide what we would like to make, if anything, as an offering to our tree.
My friend tree, bring forth 1,000 blossoms in pear heaven.
Chaffinch, crow, titmouse, other birds I can't name, sing around you.
No external life, for trees, humans or dogs, only this day.
One bird perched in sun on bare tree sings many voices.
Chaffinch song tumbles from bare branch into hedge, exciting my attention.
Rows of diggers parked beyond the green hill lie in wait.
One or many birds, doesn't matter, your songs entrance this listener.
Skylark dribbles notes over yonder, beyond the hedge, high quivering spot.
Dear pear tree, we girdle you in wool for your protection.
One song loving, distant loud, near thrush rings over the valley.
In Andean indigenous villages, even today, textile making goes beyond a craft. It is a language and it is deeply embedded in culture. So everything is associated. It's about many, many layers of storytelling. That's why I choose to use ropes and weaving, because it gives you that layering. Rather than presenting a linear view of a story, going from A to B to C, what I tend to look at is the layering of the storytelling. that there's so many layers, which you've actually just enacted. When you look at this exhibition and you look at what you've each said, there are very, very, very many layers going throughout this exhibition. As it turned out, we did make rope with the knots on it and the poetry that we'd read, and I see it a bit like a charm bracelet. I think it's going to charm our tree, and it's also going to be reaching out to the other artworks around it.
The artist has worked with a whole group of people to tour the exhibition, to respond to each individual artist's work. It involved lovely bits of haiku poetry to actually construct with the artist a piece of work that actually is now attached to the base of the tree. And it's been really interesting, really successful, and a really gentle walk around the gallery exploring all the works in relation to that theme.